I have probably interviewed over 1,000 cricketers in my life, and only one ever requested to do it on the written word. That was Samuel Badree. He gave me some of the tightest copy of my career, exactly what you would expect from a school teacher. There are just so many ways that Samuel Badree is not like other cricketers. But let's start with the most obvious. He is still to this day the only leg spinning opening bowler our game has ever had since, the 1920s when that was still a thing. I mean, look at it this way. It's now the year 2023, and Samuel Badree was last on the field in 2018, and yet he still has the most balls delivered in a power play by a leggy. And not by a little bit either. Look at this. It's actually stupid how many times he delivered in the power play compared to the next best bowler, Rashid Khan. He's got double his output. And it's worth looking at this as well. Rashid has nearly 400 matches. Badree almost 200. So he has double the power play balls from half the games. This was just when he bowled in the game. In fact, I think this shows it best. Samuel Badree's overs slip away like he's a swing bowler with no death bowling game at all. He either bowled up top or basically not at all. By the 9th over, he was basically a short third fielder for the rest of the innings. But you can see here that maybe the most interesting thing is that bump right at the start of the game. That's when he's bowling the most overs. So this is all the leggies with more than one first over in T20 cricket, and he has over a quarter of them. As I said before, he hasn't bowled since 2018. So he still has this record despite the fact that there has been more and more T20 played over the last couple of years, and he's been, in commentary boxes and coaching and probably teaching. The closest bowler to him on this list is also Max Waller, who is not really a leggy at all. By his own admission, he doesn't bowl that many actual leg breaks. He bowls off spin and knuckleballs and basically anything he wants to trick the batters early on. So the number 2 position is not even a leggy on this. And who's number 3? Oh yeah, Joe bloody Denley. A part-time bowler who most of his career didn't bowl, at all. He was an ideal first over leg spinner because all of his balls looked like they would spin and they often just went straight on. And because of that, Denley basically only bowled the first over. Once people worked out over time that he could only do that one trick with his leggies, he faded off a bit. But by that stage, he'd even been picked by England as a leg spinner. And Denley's interesting because he had more of a classical bowling style than Badree ever did. But they did the same thing. Skid the ball through. Yet a player as smart and experienced as Denley was could only make it work for a couple of years before the batters worked him out. Samuel Badree managed to have a 12-year career doing this. And he didn't just bowl the first over, did he? But Badree also bowled all the way through the power play without any plus batting or fielding skills. He was a spinner who took the new ball and then basically, sat down for the rest of the game. But because of that skill, he has the 10th most balls ever delivered in the power play. And you're not going to be shocked to find out that he is the only leggy on this list. But this is him compared to all the bowlers in the power play with over 2,000 balls there. To deliver this much, you have to be a star to begin with. And let's just take a little wander around the world here. Bhuvi Kumar was so good in the power play that teams just decided to not try and score off him at all. Sunil Narine is also in that area, despite half of his career learning a new method of bowling. Sohail Tanvir has bowled 4,000 balls up front, which is a lot of bowling with only 2 men out. Tim Southee is surprisingly poor up top, considering he's one of the world's leading swing bowlers for most of this time. And when Dre Russ had, functional knees, he was a fabulous bowler with the new ball, and David Willey has always been a left-arm swing bowler, so you expect to see someone like him up here. And then you have Shakib Al Hasan's low-slung finger spin, which is perfect for the new ball. And then there are 2 bowlers who stand out the most for just having incredible averages and economy. Muhammad Amir was a handful before and after incarceration. He's fast, he's left arm, he moves the ball, and he's incredibly skillful. And next to this once-in-a-generation left-arm pace bowler is a Trinidadian leg spinner with an incorrect technique who doesn't really spin the ball. When we talk about the best power players of all time, Badree rarely, if ever, makes any of those lists. And when you look at this, you do start to wonder why that is. And it's also a bizarre story to think about how he ever became a power play bowler, because he was a leg spinner, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. But he happened to play for a club side that struggled with new ball bowlers, so he decided to try his wrist spin there, and this all happened. So that means his entire career in some ways was a bit of an accident. The thing that wasn't an accident was his success. But while he may have gone up top in a weird way, when you actually watch him bowl, it makes sense that he worked so well. The first thing you notice about him is that he has no front arm. The best leggies usually have a powerful left arm that helps him pull through the crease and get more momentum on the ball. Badree's basically doesn't exist. This means that he is more like a finger spinner and is going to skid on a lot more. Leg spinners usually don't skid as much because they get a lot more overspin. Badree skidded through like an off-spinner, and look at how often he hits the stumps. So yes, he was a leg spinner, and he had a very good wrong-un that a lot of players couldn't pick, but his real skill was that he was a leggy who behaved more like an offie, and that married together very perfectly with the new ball that often skidded off. But also remember that Badree was very smart. So he was one of the first spinners to use a cross seam regularly. So batters couldn't work out which way the ball was spinning, but it also meant that some balls would hit the brand spanking new painted white leather and skid on, and others would hit the seam and bounce or slow down. And all of this was self-taught. Leg spin mentors were few and far between in the West Indies in his era, or I suppose any era. Frankensteinian creation came from him trying to emulate what he saw on TV and kind of getting it horribly wrong, but also perfect. And because of all those things, he had a career that spanned a decade in one of the most absurd roles we've ever had in cricket. It's all kind of almost barely believable. And Badree started in 2006, before my database actually really exists. And you can see here that it was well before the leg spin boom in T20. And also big for the West Indies is interesting because they were so fast bowling obsessed. So Badree was a part-time cricketer and teacher who was left to go and work out his own thing. And that turned out to be the best thing that could ever have happened to him. And if you look at him as an overall cricketer, he had an okay ODI record, but only ever played 30 domestic List A games. In first-class cricket, he took 14 wickets in 12 matches, but in T20, he was a golden god. Weirdly, none of this ended up with a proper IPL career. Like many overseas spinners who couldn't bat off the field, he didn't get a look in. So in 2003, he got one match. In 2014, he struggled to take any wickets, but had a sub-7 economy that year. And in 2017, when his career was basically finished, he finally had a good long run of 7 matches, and he averaged 21 with the ball that year, and never played again. In fact, for as good as he was outside of home when he played, he wasn't really a mainstay in any of the T20 leagues. You can see that he actually played his most T20 cricket for the West Indies, which is a weird anomaly in an age where West Indians were making huge amounts of T20 league appearances around the world, and he wasn't really one of those players. When he did get random experiences in most leagues, he always did well. But people just couldn't get their head around the fact that they were hiring a leg spin opening bowler. Badree was such a weird creature that he was snubbed when he obviously shouldn't have been. And when you look at all the high-use bowlers in T20 cricket history, he has the second best economy after his fellow Trinidadian Sunil Narine. This is just a freaky record when you think about it. And maybe for all the important numbers associated with his career, the specialist one is number 2, because that's how many World Cups he won. And in that first World Cup final, he took Kumar Sangakkara, which is, pretty handy wicket to take. In his second final against England, he took 2 early on, but almost went at half the match rate on his way to 2 for 16 from 4 overs. He was a menace. So in Badree, you had the world's first and only handmade leg spinning opener who wrote grammatically correct emails on his way to an epic career with 2 huge titles. Samuel Badree was the teacher who taught himself how to be great in the weirdest way possible.